kick off the event, I'd just like to say we're delighted to have two sleep specialists this evening offering different strategies to promote sleep in menopause. And we'll begin with sleep psychologist Nidra, and we'll wind down the evening with the wonderful Sarah Thomas, one of our Menopause Movement founder members, who is treating us to a restorative Nidra yoga session so that you can all leave feeling rejuvenated. You'll need a little pillow or a cushion for your head and a blanket. And if you have space to lie on the floor, or maybe a sofa if you don't, and if lying down isn't suitable or you're pregnant, for those who are able to, you can take part seated or lying on your side. So now I'd like to introduce Christine Bird, who is our Menopause Movement clinical lead. Hi, Christine.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, very good. So firstly, Christine, I'd like to ask you a question. Why is sleep so important for women going into menopause?
Yeah, I suppose that's what tonight is all about. There'll be a lot of general stuff about sleep, but obviously into the menopause, like many things, sleep can really change as well. Actually, I would like to welcome our international guests as well. We've got Gaina from Belgium, my sister in Holland, and a friend of hers. So it's really nice to have, and of course, all over the UK, and even somebody in sunny Malta. Lucky. So
Lucky,
welcome to you all. Yeah, so sleep and the menopause. I think what's really important to realize that the seeds are often sown for developing sleep problems well before the menopause itself. So it's often the years leading into the menopause, which often for most of us is a really busy time. You know, the sandwich generation, as we all know, it's a time in career, family life, and generally things are hectic. So once we're into that perimenopause, which most of you probably are aware of, starts on average about the age of 45 and lasts around 4 years, your main reproductive hormones will start to fluctuate quite erratically. So your progesterone, your testosterone, and mainly and most importantly, your estrogen. And post-menopause, obviously, those hormones start flatlining. Particularly estrogen will cause what we call vasomotor symptoms. And these are the very common symptoms like night sweats and hot flushes. So you can imagine when people are experiencing those symptoms at night, it's hardly surprising that you don't sleep very well. So sleep becomes disturbed and may have been slightly disturbed already. And there's another shift, and the quantity and the quality of women's sleep can be affected with that. We do now know that, in fact, sleep problems before the menopause are a significant predictor of menopausal sleep problems as well. So if you're younger listening to this, this is a really good time to nip it in the bud, really, because you will be at higher risk of having sleep problems during the menopause as well. So estrogen, our main reproductive hormone, helps to regulate and increase our REM sleep. Meerte will talk more to us about that and explain what the REM sleep is, but it is important for memory, for mood, for processing, for learning. And so we'll talk about that more later. Estrogen also helps, if you look at the evidence, to increase your total sleep time. And of course, it helps to regulate body temperature during sleep. And it also helps to regulate your neurotransmitters like serotonin that are important in controlling mood, which actually has an impact on sleep as well. Then the next hormone is progesterone. That has a more sedative effect and helps breathing as well. So either that becoming erratic or flatlining can also have an impact. Thirdly, which Meerte will talk about, is your melatonin, known as your sleep hormone, which naturally decreases with age, but will significantly decrease into the menopause as well. And then, of course, there is our stress hormone, which is good for all of us to have, your fight and flight hormone, when your brain thinks it's in danger. But we do now know that cortisol has been shown to be elevated at night, and that's probably not when we need our stress hormone, unless there's a saber-toothed tiger sitting in the tree waiting for us. And obviously that can lead to an increased feeling of stress and anxiety. So in addition to that, we also know that cortisol levels spike just after a hot flush, which can leave a woman really alert during the night and very difficult to fall back asleep again. So all this explains why we're organizing this webinar and why it matters so much to assertively claim your sleep into the menopause. And I think that's also a perfect moment to introduce Meerte. So Meerte, if we can say hello to you. Hi Meerte, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Meerte Vos, she's a practicing psychologist. She lives and works in The Hague in the Netherlands and is also a university lecturer. As part of her clinical practice, she's led cognitive behavioral therapy sleep courses and treated people with sleep disturbances. I'm personally very excited about today and I am biased because Meerte is my niece and my favorite sister's daughter. My sister is here. I've only got one sister actually. So Meerte at her younger age is an amazingly knowledgeable psychologist and a very kind healthcare professional. And I think all around amazing human being. So Meerte, welcome to the movement tonight. It's really unusual to meet you this way. Normally we sit around your mom's kitchen table with a coffee or a glass of wine. So the first question I'd like to ask you these days, that when we're all tracking lots of things, we're tracking our cycle, lots of different things. I know that often a recommendation is to journal your sleep and your sleep disturbances, and keeping a journal is often recommended. Why is keeping a journal helpful, and what would you actually recommend to note about your sleep?
Yes, I think keeping a journal is indeed very important as a first step also to tackle the sleep problems, because it helps you to be more aware of the sleep problems and also what influences the sleep problems. And what I always ask people to note down is the time that they go to bed, the total time that they are in bed, and of that time how much they sleep. So you actually note down when you go to bed, how much you sleep, but also how much time you spend laying awake in bed.
Yeah.
And also you can track during the day, maybe when you have when you eat and when you have coffee and when you drink alcohol, for example, because then you could see, okay, this was a bad night. Oh, maybe it has to do something with the coffee that I took late in the evening. So you can also see some connections why your sleep gets troubled.
Yeah. So what's the best way to note it? Because obviously you don't want to make so many notes that you're wide awake making notes. Well, how do you normally recommend people how they do it? Just with a pencil and a booklet, or remember the next day?
Well, I think it is indeed very important not to note it down during the night because then you get all awake. Yeah. I usually ask them to do it next morning. And so then you can look back, how was the night? And sometimes I ask them to color, like in all black, how much they slept, and then leave open when they awake. So then you can just color it.
Yeah, and start looking at patterns.
Yes.
And of course, we've all got our own biological rhythm. We read so much about that. So the circadian rhythm, are you actually born with that? Is it nature? Is it nurture? Can you change? Can you change it? Is it fixed?
Well, I think like everybody has their own circadian rhythm, and I think it also changes during your life. I think, for example, in menopause, it can, but you probably know more about that than me, but it can change. Your circadian rhythm is just your day-night rhythm. So when you feel awake and when you feel sleepy. This can, of course, change because maybe you also know when you have a jet lag, it can also already change. Like if you go to a different time period, 6-hour difference, then you can also know that you get sleepy more early or things like that. So it can also change during the day, and you can also really influence it. So if you have like maybe a bit late circadian sleep rhythm, you can also reset it.
Okay.
And that is also how you how you tackle your sleep problems, by resetting it.
Yeah, because that's something when we had to chat about it before, and I was fascinated with that. And I keep telling everyone now is that a good night's sleep in that way starts early in the morning. That's when you start setting your rhythm. So does that mean having breakfast or not lying in too much, or how can you reset it like
Yes,
that?
well, if your biological clock is kind of disturbed, it is good to reset it indeed.
Yeah.
And you can already do that in the morning. So for example, wake up at the same time every day of the week, and preferably a bit early so that you can also get more sleepy earlier in the evening. But it's not only waking up, it's also light is a big influence. So it's very important to get natural light during the day, especially in the morning. So it might be nice to go out for a walk in the morning, or and also when you are outside, the light is much brighter than inside. So that's very important. And not only light, but also having breakfast. You also give a signal to your body, okay, it's morning, and you also reset your biological clock. So that is also important.
I like the idea. I also like the idea is that you're actually working on it during the day. So it's not all such a focus at nighttime and now I've got to sleep. Actually, if you get the right rhythm during the day, you're already sort of setting yourself up for success.
Yes.
Really. And the sleep hormone, melatonin, would you prescribe it? Does it work for people that work shift patterns, for instance? Or would you, how do you work with melatonin or not?
Well, melatonin is actually naturally produced by your body. So if your circadian rhythm is not disturbed, it should be really low, the level of melatonin in the morning, and it should build up in the evening, and then you get sleepy. But if it's disturbed, it is better, I think, to reset it by light, and because light really breaks down the melatonin. So if you receive light in the morning, then your melatonin gets down. And also in the evening, when your melatonin should build up, it's important to not get so much light. So for example, the blue screens, they are not such a good idea before going to bed. Yeah. And you could also take it but then I would recommend to always discuss that with a sleep specialist or with your doctor, because you don't want to disturb your melatonin cycle.
No, quite your natural yes. Rhythm. Absolutely. That's so you've already mentioned a couple of really helpful things, but what sort of top tips, take-home messages can you give that are helpful to impact your biological rhythm? I know people talk about sleep hygiene. I don't know why I don't like that word. Hygiene seems to be so prescriptive, and I would prefer it to be a little bit of a looser, happier term than hygiene. It sounds too dental to me, really.
Yes, it's even biological.
What top tips would you have? What take-home messages to impact that biological rhythm?
I think, as we already discussed, it's so important what you do during the day. So really go out during the day, maybe also try to move as much as you can during the day. So really give signals to your body during the day that you're active and that it's day. And also in the evening, tries to slow things down. So make sure you don't get too much light, but also not too much of negative thoughts, or for example, don't have a difficult phone conversation just before you go to bed. Just make sure that you have a kind of a relaxed evening when you build things off, and then you also influence it.
So if you wanted a big argument with your partner, wait until the next morning.
Yes.
Wait for the next morning, go to sleep. To sleep first. I think something I can relate to is I often think, oh, I've got to sleep 8 hours. So you get quite sort of obsessed with the amount of sleep that you think you need. Well, or when you wake up, you want to know, I want to calculate how many hours I've got left. What are your tips? What are your tips on that?
Well, I think first of all, it's very important to not look at your alarm when you wake up, or not look at the clock, because I can imagine if you see that you only have 3 hours left, then you get stressed, and that's not what you want, because you want to get more relaxed. So I think that is an important thing. And it might also be interesting to know that the first 4 hours of your sleep are usually the hours that you really need to function for the next day, because that is the most in the first 4 hours you get the most of the deep sleep, and that is really what you need to function for the next day. So it might help to think when you're laying in bed, okay, if I at least get the first 4 hours, then it's okay, and I will still be able to function next day.
Yeah, and I really like that, because I think that reduces the sleep anxiety, the anxiety about getting enough sleep. A little bit of
Yes.
4 hours, I probably can survive. And I love the tip of not looking at your watch, because I think your cortisol, your stress hormone goes up, and you just get too alert, too alert, really. That's okay. Actually, when we were talking together about this webinar, what was a real sort of light bulb moment for me is when you explained the difference between being sleepy and tired, and why it matters. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, I think when you are feeling sleepy, usually you notice that you're really starting to yawn, or that your eyes really get tired, or you really notice that you are actually almost falling asleep. That is really sleepy. But being tired is more like a general feeling of tiredness, and that can have to do with a lot of things. And if you are sleepy, it usually means you have to go to bed and go to sleep. But if you feel tired, it might also have to do something with, maybe you need some oxygen, go outside, move a bit. Sometimes you can also feel tired if you have too much sleep. So that is actually the most important difference, I think. And we also always recommend that you go to bed only when you're sleepy, and not if you feel tired, because you can feel tired and then still be very awake. And if you are sleepy and then go to bed, you probably fall asleep much more quick.
Yes, and I think Sarah will talk about it a bit more, and the Nidra yoga fits in well with that. I think, you know, the moments that, if anything, when you feel tired, you just want to feel a bit rejuvenated. So some people might want to go for a run, some people might want to meditate, other people might want to walk. But I think that difference between feeling sleepy and tired, and then of course the key is feeling sleepy at the right time, isn't it? And not during a lecture at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
No.
So you've already mentioned the different sleep types, like your deep sleep and your REM sleep, and they, I understand, have different functions. Can you explain a little bit more about the differences and what the importance is of both of those?
Yes. So you actually have 3 types of sleep. So you have like a light sleep, and this is usually before you fall asleep, and you can also easily awake, but it's just to relax your body a bit.
Yeah.
And then you have the REM sleep, the REM sleep. And this is a sleep in which happens a lot. You process a lot mentally during the day. It is a sleep that you need, but it's also a sleep that costs a lot of energy. And you also have the deep sleep, and the deep sleep is the sleep part in which you really restore physically, and what you really need to function for the next day. So usually the first part of the night, you have the most deep sleep, and the longer you lie in bed, the more REM sleep you get. So that's why it's also important to not sleep too long, because then you get a lot of REM sleep, and that will only exhaust you more. So that's also important to know.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. There's some evidence occurring, if you sleep too much, it's not always great for all your health indicators. So I always thought the more the better, but that's not the case. So that deep sleep is those 4 hours you just mentioned. Is that right?
Yes, well, you have actually like sleep cycles, and in every cycle you go to each phase.
Okay.
But in the first 4 hours there's more deep sleep, and in the other hours there's more REM sleep and light sleep. So that is.
What I also thought was interesting, that the REM sleep, why your eyes actually doing that, because you're looking for the light. Is that right?
Yes, there are kind of different theories about it, but like from evolution, the idea is that your eyes are just scanning for the light, and then when it's get light, you awake.
Yeah, no, that's great. So sort of thinking about all those different sleeps and feeling sleepy and wanting your melatonin at the right time. So, you know, kind of your whole day thing. I know that countries that have a lot of siestas apparently also have a high prevalence of insomnia. of sleep disturbances. So what are your thoughts about power naps? You know, is it a good thing? Would you recommend it, especially if your sleep is disturbed? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think a lot of people with sleep problems do power naps, because if you feel very tired, it's very hard to resist to skip the power nap, of course. But in general, it's not something that we recommend, because if you take a power nap, usually you will, it depends how long it is, but if you sleep during the day, you will also come into your deep sleep, and you can only have maximum of hours of deep sleep in 24 hours. So then you will get that already in the afternoon, which makes your sleep less productive during the night. But if you then take a power nap, it's important to not do it longer than an hour, and do it before 3 o'clock, because then it disturbs your rhythm less than if you do it later.
Yeah. So straight after breakfast.
Yeah, just go back into bed.
So if you are lying awake, and I think that happens especially women in the menopause, you know, they seem to always wake up at a certain really unpopular time, like 3 or 4 o'clock or whatever. The advice is often to get out of bed. What is this thing about not lying awake in bed? Why do you recommend that?
Yes, usually we recommend indeed that if you lie awake for longer than 20 minutes, and you really feel in these 20 minutes, oh, I really cannot get back to sleep, it's good to sit in a different room. Then it's important in that room that you also don't have too much light, and you do something that relaxes you. And then you wait until you get sleepy again. And then you go back to bed. And the idea behind that is that you don't want to have an association with your bed, that you think, okay, the bed resembles to me sleeplessness. You really actually want to associate your bed with going to sleep. So it's really the connection that you're making to it. So actually it's important to only use the bed for sleep, and also not to read or to eat during, people do all kinds of things in bed, but only for sleep.
Yeah. So, and of course, the other big question that we always get asked, what about tea and alcohol?
Yes, so caffeine, you mean? Yes.
Yeah, sorry, yes. Coffee and alcohol. Yeah, caffeine and alcohol, really, not just tea.
Yes. Yeah, so caffeine, of course, really makes you awake. So it's important not to take that too much during a day, because it really takes a long time for your body to break it off. Of course, it depends per person. So if you always drink coffee in the evening and you never have trouble like falling asleep, then it's okay, of course. But in general, if you have sleep problems, we would recommend you to not take too much caffeine, and not take it after 3 o'clock also. And for alcohol, this is also something a lot of people say, that if they take alcohol, they might sleep better, but it really reduces your deep sleep, and you get more REM sleep, so it will really disturb your night. So if you do it, then take the maximum of 2 glasses, and not right before bed.
Yeah, and early, because obviously another problem in the menopause as well, that it's harder to keep your blood sugar levels stable. And obviously, especially if you have alcohol just before you go to bed, you also get onto that sugar roller coaster, which then often wakes you up when your insulin starts responding to that. In the middle of the night. It's a shame, really. So Meerte, my mom, your oma, your nan, always used to say the hours before 12 count double. Is there actually any evidence for this? Is it a myth?
Well, it's not exactly that it counts double, but if your circadian rhythm is going on track, like usually then your melatonin starts to build up and to peak, and then your sleep is more has more quality. So in general, your sleep is more effective during the first part of the night. And that can be before 12 o'clock, but if it's a little bit belated for some people, then it can be a bit later.
Yeah. So melatonin, will it peak at a certain time? Or again, is that different for everyone? Or is there a general trend when melatonin peaks?
Well, it's different for everyone. Everybody has like this in the night and this during the day. But for some people it's a bit later, for some people it's a bit earlier, and you can also reset that. But it peaks usually like in the night, the beginning of the night, then when you have your deep sleep.
Yeah. And I think all these things all make so much sense, and I'm sure it will all promote sleep, but it's also quite a lot of discipline, isn't it? How, like in your sleep courses as well, and when you work with people, what sort of tips do you give to start putting into place? Like, are they baby steps? Are you prioritizing? How do you actually advise people without getting too stressed about it, or to start putting some of that good advice into practice?
Yeah, I think it really needs some discipline indeed. And it's really kind of difficult to really change your sleep problems. You really should put some effort in it. So you should prioritize it indeed. And it might help to maybe share also with your environment that you have sleep problems or what helps, that they can also understand it maybe. And maybe just take small steps, try one thing a week and see what works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also be assertive enough, give yourself permission to sleep, because women into the menopause can be quite well known to not always prioritize to self-care. So it's also a permission thing. It's important for you to sleep, and you can kind of claim your sleep.
Yes.
Why doesn't, because obviously Menopause Movement and our training platform for professionals has a big focus on movement. How important is movement and exercise for good sleep?
I think that's very important indeed, because there's research also has shown that if you exercise during the day, you have more deep sleep during the night. So there's a relation between that. But it is important then for your biological clock to do exercise in the beginning of the day, preferably, or at least not right before bed or in the evening. So if you have the choice, do it in the beginning of the day, but in general, it is good to do it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, now we fully endorse that, of course. What about sleeping tablets? What are your thoughts on sleeping tablets?
Well, we sometimes also say like there's not like really sleep medication doesn't exist, because it can help you with the sleep, but all sleeping tablets also reduce the quality of the sleep, because you have less deep sleep and less REM sleep. And it's also very hard if you stop with sleeping tablets, because then your REM sleep will really like rebound, so it will double up in the other nights, and it will make you more exhausted. So in general, we do not we recommend to use these tips first, but of course if you're really having trouble sleeping and you need one night to give you a boost of energy, then you can use it, but it's always important to discuss it with a doctor, of course.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, that is so helpful. I think, Joe, am I right? Are there a couple of questions for Meerte? Is Joe there?
Yes, I am here. I'm
Hello,
sorry
Joe.
you caught me out there. I wasn't having a snooze, honestly. Really
No, I
good
thought we sent you to
questions
sleep.
here. Okay, I'm going to go back. I can think this isn't a question, but it goes back to what Meerte was saying about the blue light. I've started to leave my phone downstairs to keep me off my phone at night, as I was living on 2 to 3 hours a night. My goodness, she wasn't even getting the 4 hours that she needed.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You think phones out of the room, Meerte? Leave your
Yes. I think it is also important. Then, yeah, for sometimes you can use it as an alarm, but if you know you tend to go in your phone a lot, then yeah.
I'm actually just going to jump in on that one, because I sometimes use the Calm app. I don't know if you've heard of that, and it's stories on it's meditations and stories, but it's on a mobile phone, and I'm a bit like conflicted, going a sleep meditation or a sleep story, but you have to have it on your mobile phone, which is giving off the light. So what do you think about these sleep apps and meditations?
I think meditations and sleep apps can be very helpful because it can help you wind down for the night. But I'm not sure if it's like a text that you read or if it's like
No, it's somebody talking. It's somebody
okay.
reading a very boring story. Anyway, that was just my question, but I just
Well, I think
fascinated
that
by
is not a
apps and
problem.
phones. Oh, I like this one. Do some people naturally need less sleep than others? My teenagers certainly used to think they needed more than others, but so what's the
Yes.
science on the amount?
Yes, there are people who are like short sleepers and long sleepers, so there's really a difference. And actually, to know what kind of person you are, it helps to think, okay, how much sleep did I need before I was having sleep problems to function during the day? And then you can decide for yourself, okay, am I a short sleeper or a long sleeper? But not everybody needs 8 hours a night.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you only ever slept 6 hours and you're now sleeping 5 hours, it's not such a big problem. But
No.
if you needed 8 and you're getting 5, it's a big problem. That's good. What are your thoughts about chamomile tea and valerian teas?
Well, I think it is not something that can trouble your sleep. So, and I can also imagine that it can help you relax. So I think it's not a problem to take it. And if it helps you, then I don't see why not.
Okay. Oh, this is a big one. How would you recommend beginning to change sleep patterns? I suppose you've given us some points, but you kind of go, right, I need to start making that change slowly.
I think the point where you can start usually is to wake up at the same time every day and not sleep in if you can, and because then you disturb your rhythm again. So really wake up at the same time, try to do that a bit early. I think that works better than go back early to bed every night.
Okay, so cut into it, wake yourself up rather than, okay, perfect. Oh, I like this one. Do you have any suggestions for partners who snore? Maybe a hand over their face?
Well, the first thing I think of is like earplugs, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can imagine that that's very difficult. Yeah, so try to decrease the sound as much as possible, I think.
Okay.
Somebody's just saying a spare room. I like that as well.
A pillow. Okay, this is a bit of a long one. I don't know if my pronunciation is going to be right here. With Buteyko breathing, they raise the levels of CO2 and the nitric oxide is a vasodilator. Do you think having a correct breathing technique under control can assist with relaxing as it connects with the parasympathetic nervous system?
Well, I did not hear of this kind of breathing before, but I think in general, like breathing exercises can really help you because it really also slows down your heart rate and gets you more calm. So I think that can really help.
Okay, perfect. I think possibly we'll also be doing a little bit of that with Sarah in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a couple of questions just before we finish. What about sleeping with your pet?
Sleeping with your pet.
Somebody needs to confess to something. I can't, I couldn't possibly comment.
Well, I think that is also really dependent on the kind of pet that you have.
Yes. If it's a crocodile, it's a bad idea.
Yes, or if it snores, or like, but I think in general, if you have just a pet who is quiet and sleeps with you and makes you feel relaxed, I don't see why not. But there's not one general advice on that.
Well, do you know what? I think it's a really good time to finish because Gaina has said, yes, dog in, husband out. So I really like that. Listen, Mieta, I could listen to you all night, and I've been taking lots of notes because we do write these up as blogs. So this will be on, we'll be sending some of this out with a mail out that will come out after this event. So thank you so much. I know I learned a huge amount and I've got some habits I need to break there. But I'm going to, so thank you very much, but we're now going to move on to to Sarah Thomas, who, as Anne has said, is a yoga teacher. She is I'm just looking for my introduction. She is a yoga, meditation and mindfulness teacher with over 25 years experience. And we are delighted to say that she's completed the Menopause Movement training program. And if her face is familiar, it is because she is the face of our website, who's demonstrating lots of stuff on the Menopause Movement website. I'll drop her website into the chat, and she has also left us lots of resources, which you're all going to relax now, so don't worry about making notes. I will be sending through some resources that Sarah recommends. So hello, Sarah, and I'm going to turn my camera off and hand over to you. Thank you. And if we've all fallen asleep by 8 o'clock, we'll just say goodbye. But no, Anne will tell us when we're finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thanks, Sarah, for doing this. You've just got such an amazingly nurturing aura, and you're one of our founder members, and you've always been such a fantastic support to Menopause Movement. So it's fantastic that you're here with us now. One thing what I learned from you yesterday is I often call Nidra yoga sleep yoga, and actually that's not entirely correct. So I was very happy to be corrected on that, because it's not really being sleepy or falling asleep. It's a very different state. Do you want to explain a bit about, before we start, what Nidra yoga is and what it's all about?
Yes, it's a guided meditation where you listen to my voice, and that takes you into a deep, dreamless sleep where you remain awake and aware. So you're in this deep, dreamless state, but you are actually conscious. And it's sort of, in yoga philosophy terms, we work with the koshas, layers of the body. So we relax our physical body, we work with the breath, we work with sensations to settle the mind. We tap into our wisdom layer, working with our creativity and visualizations, and then in the sort of a state even beyond our deep dreamless sleep, we are said to be in touch with our bliss or our joy layer, our true selves, our true nature. So in essence, it's a very deeply restorative and healing practice, but also leaves you feeling rejuvenated. So as we talked about.
So what I understand from you, but I think it's so helpful to understand, it's not really about falling asleep in sleep yoga, but it will, because of the rejuvenation, it will promote sleep.
Exactly.
To the whole 24-hour.
Exactly. And it's so it's not a practice that you would lie in bed and do. No. It is a practice in its own right that rejuvenates and restores, reducing stress, removing tension on all levels of your being, leaving you more peaceful, more relaxed, and therefore probably more able to have a better night's sleep.
Yeah. And because when I was talking to Meert as well, it so fits in so well that if you're feeling really tired, I think you call it tired and wired.
Yes.
That's probably not the time to go to sleep, because there might be quite a lot of cortisol. You're just exhausted. And would that be a good time to consider some guided meditation?
And we talked about that, didn't we? It's almost like choosing what is going to release that sort of, at the end of the day, you can feel still quite jittery. And this sort of rather wired, tense state, and I think that's where yoga postures come in beautifully, moving the body back to this need to move. It might be a walk, it might be a run, just getting rid of some excess energy, because we are sat at computers using our brain so much, sort of concentrating, and yet physically quite still. So taking the opportunity to go move your body is a really good idea, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think this is our favorite bit at the end?
I hope so. I'm going to use something called a sankalpa, which is an intention or a resolve that's said to work deep within our conscious minds and provide us a chance to maybe reset our thinking. And I was thinking there's so much anxiety and so much worry around at the moment that my Sankalpa I'm going to use this evening is I am peaceful and peace flows through me, just to try and make us feel more peaceful and calm. When
That
we
sounds so blissful. I'll switch my camera off and I'll leave you with a fantastic practice. Thanks,
lovely,
Sarah.
lovely. So I'm going to invite you all now, just give you a moment or two to come and lie on the ground, your feet at least double hip width apart, your arms away from your body with the palms facing up, your head centered. And if you need to stop your head tilting back, just a little cushion underneath your head, maybe a blanket for warmth to keep you nice and warm. And I'm going to read this guided meditation to you, and you are going to remain awake and aware. So placing your cushion under your head, as I said. Now, we've already mentioned if lying down is not suitable for you, you can lie on your side, or you can actually work sitting up in a chair. So I'm going to guide you through this Yoga Nidra, and while I do, you are going to remain awake and aware. We're going to use a Sankalpa, an intention or resolve, and the Sankalpa I've chosen for us this evening is I am peaceful, peace flows through me. So from your lying down position, coming into the present, just letting go of the events of the day and coming to sense your body lying on the ground, supported by the earth beneath you. Roll your head gently from side to side and rest with your head centered. Your arms, as I've already explained, away from your body, legs double hip width apart, your toes rolling outwards. You might even like to yawn to stretch the jaw. That connection, feel that connection with the ground, allow the earth to hold and support you. And as you inhale now, your awareness on your breath, imagine that you are inhaling peace. And as you exhale, peace flows through you. Relaxing the body further now. As you inhale, push away through your heels, gather tension in the feet and legs. And as you exhale, release and relax. Inhaling, lift your hips, squeeze your buttocks tight, tight, tight. Gather tension in the pelvis. As you exhale, release and relax. Inhaling, draw your navel to spine, push the small of your back towards the floor. And as you exhale, release and relax. Inhaling, lift your chest, lifting through the sternum, squeeze your shoulder blades together at the back. And as you exhale, release and relax. Inhaling, make fists with your hands, tense through your arms. And as you exhale, stretch your fingers wide and release and relax. Inhaling, shrug your shoulders up to your ears, gather tension in the shoulders there. And as you exhale, release and relax. Inhaling, draw your chin down towards your chest, just feeling the gentle squeeze of the throat, and exhaling, release and relax. Inhaling, scroll your face muscles towards your nose, make a prune face, lovely and tight. And as you exhale, release and relax. Release and relax. With your awareness on your body now, feel your body in touch with the floor. Notice the parts touching the earth and feel the contact with the earth, the contact with the earth. Feel the weight of gravity sending your body into the earth. The weight of your body sinking down into the earth, held and supported by the earth. And notice how as you inhale, your body gets heavy and sinks down into the earth. as the earth holds you. As you exhale, notice your body getting lighter, creating a sense of space and freedom within you. So as you inhale, sensations of heaviness, the floor beneath you, the earth beneath you, and exhaling, your body getting lighter. Now move your awareness to your breath and your breathing. Observe your body breathing. Notice how your body moves with each inhalation and with each exhalation. Notice the movement of the breath through your body. Soften your belly now and breathe into your belly. Notice the rise and fall of your abdomen as you breathe. The rise on the inhale and the softening as you exhale. The rise on the inhale and the softening on the exhale. Now count down your breath. As you inhale, say 20 silently to yourself. As you exhale, say 20. As you inhale, say 19. As you exhale, say 19. Continue counting down all the way to 0 now. And if you lose count, don't worry. You can return to the beginning and start again. Letting go of your attention on the breath now. Letting go of your attention on the breath. And I'm going to repeat our Sankalpa, our resolve. I am peaceful. Peace flows through me. Allow your awareness to move to different points of your body now as I name them. Bring your awareness to your mind center, the point between your eyebrows, and place a tiny twinkling star there. Place a star at your throat your right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, right thumb, right index finger, right middle finger, right ring finger, right little finger, right wrist, right elbow, right shoulder, the throat, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, left wrist, elbow, left shoulder, throat, heart, left chest, heart, right chest, heart, navel, right hip, right knee, right ankle, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, right ankle, right knee, right hip, left hip, left knee, left ankle, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, little toe, left ankle, left knee, left hip, navel, heart, throat, mind center between your eyebrows. See a constellation of stars in your body. See a constellation of stars to the left of your body. See a constellation of stars to the right of your body. Sense a galaxy of stars above your body. Sense a galaxy of stars below your body. Feel your whole body floating on a sea of starlight. Your body is filled with this light. Take your awareness to the heart and feel the rise and fall of the heart center. Sense that your heart is filled with light. Your heart is filled with peace. Now rest in the silence and spaciousness there. Repeating our Sankalpa, I am peaceful. Peace flows through me. That ends our Nidra practice for this evening. So now it's time to bring our awareness back. Feel your body lying on your mat, the floor, the earth beneath you. Become aware of your breath and your breathing. Notice any sounds around you, the temperature of the air on your skin. Bring your attention to the crown of your head, to your brain, the mind and senses, to your neck and throat, to your shoulders, your arms and hands. Take your awareness to your back and spine, to your rib cage, your abdomen, your pelvis and your hips. Awareness to your legs, your feet and toes. Now decide which part of your body you would like to bring movement to first. Maybe you'd like to wriggle your fingers and toes. Have a stretch through your arms and legs. Maybe you'd like to draw your knees onto your chest and clasp your arms around you. With the knees on chest, having a lovely gentle rock from side to side. And when you are ready, and there is no rush, roll over onto your left side and push yourself up into a comfortable seated position.
Sarah, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Gosh,
Pleasure.
I was so rested. I almost forgot I was closing this evening's event. That was so wonderfully peaceful. I just want to extend a massive thank you to Mirta and to Sarah for taking time out of their precious evening to share their sleep strategies with us. Before you all go, I'd just like to let you know about our next event, which is all part of our ongoing CPD training for Menopause Movement members. But we like it to be inclusive to the public as well, so they can view it for free. But our Menopause Movement members can see it, the recorded version, and any of the other recordings that we've done previously. The next event is on Monday, the 23rd of May, and the topic is movement, menopause, and pelvic health. Everything a woman ought to know. With pelvic health physio, with Emma Brockwell, known as Physio Mum on social media, and she will be talking to us. She's also a pre and postnatal physio and a sports and exercise physio who works with runners and athletes about pelvic floor health. She's also the author of Why Did No One Tell Me How to Protect, Heal and Nurture Your Body Through Motherhood? And she'll be discussing her book and so much more about women's pelvic health and promoting movement in menopause. So this is one not to miss out on for any woman at any age who wants to feel confident exercising. We really hope that you can join us for this one, and we hope that you all have a wonderful night's sleep, thanks to Sarah and Meta. Thanks, everyone.